Excuse me, ma'am. I'm sorry, ma'am. I'm trying to find directions to Fairmount Park. Could you help me?
Hi, can I help you?
Yeah, hi. We're trying to find the
Liberty Bell, absolutely. Right here. Did you know that the Liberty Bell first rang to signify the first public reading of the Declaration of Independence?
No.
Yeah, that was a long time ago, back in 1776. Way before I was born. Isn't it amazing that they still celebrate the...
No, I'm sorry. We're just trying to find the restroom.
Wow, there were some major communications issues going on there, right? And when you're dealing with customers, that's not a good thing. Let's face it, some people are more comfortable with interpersonal communications. They can engage people in conversation and they enjoy it. Others prefer to work behind the scenes. They may never meet a guest, but their communication skills are still critical because everyone influences the internal culture. And when that's good and happy and positive, then that trickles out to the customers and guests. Trying to be bright and upbeat in a poor internal culture is like trying to swim laps with a 10-pound brick on your back. So that's what we're going to cover today, interpersonal communications. Now, before we jump in, I'm going to issue a challenge to you. During this class, I will be sharing over 35 new ideas, behaviors, and ways of communicating. Pick 3 things that you will actually do that are new and different to you. Find something that fits your job or situations that you frequently find yourself in. Now, if everyone taking Philly Welcomes You tried 3 new things from today's class, then overnight, Philadelphia could become an even better place to live and in turn, a greater place to visit. There are 4 formal ways to communicate: reading, writing, speaking, and listening. While all of us have been to school for reading and writing, much fewer of us have taken speech class, or even fewer, if any, have taken a listening class. So, in this program, we'll be focusing on those last 2, speaking and listening. Speaking can be broken into 2 parts, what you say and how you say it. Let's start with what you say. While our everyday speech is fine among people we know and work with, we don't have the luxury of having those same relationships with visitors or strangers. Therefore, we need to communicate clearly. We need to be proactive in fulfilling our guests' needs, and we need to put a positive spin on what we say so that we're creating or contributing to positive experiences. Let's take a look at a couple of examples. Now, you might say, "I'll try," but a better response would be, "I will." You may reply with, "I'm not really sure," if you don't know the answer to something, but instead you should say, "I'll get that information for you." And here's another one. "Oh, we don't do that here." A better way to say it is, "Here is what we offer." So let's apply our positive phrases to an everyday scenario. Let's say that you work at one of our city's 150 recreation centers and someone asks if she can join a Zumba class. Your center does not offer Zumba. Now, in this case, you could say, "What we offer here is basketball, after-school programs, and gymnastics, but I'll call a few other centers close by for you and find out when they offer Zumba." Then make the call. Share the information along with directions and a phone number with the contact person at the center. And who knows, maybe you will want to get your Zumba on too. So that's what you say. Now let's discuss how you say it. And with that, we mean body language and nonverbal communications. Toastmasters International, the recognized leader in public speaking, says that over 50% of all communication is nonverbal. If people are around you and you say nothing, you're still communicating. We don't necessarily mean to, but human beings build a perception of who you are before even meeting you, just from what you look like. Your body's positioning, what you are doing, how you are dressed, your mannerisms, your mood are all gauged within seconds of setting eyes on you. So when you're on duty, you're affecting others in that 8-foot circle around you. You communicate through your clothing and appearance. Each employer has their own rules for the environment where you work. It's important that you pay attention and keep uniforms clean and your personal appearance within the standards laid out. And just like you communicate through your appearance, your organization communicates through their facility's appearance. If you walk into a restaurant and there are flies everywhere and the floor hasn't been mopped, you know the food preparation probably isn't up to par either. So keep your workplace clean and safe. Public areas should be customer friendly. Bulletin boards should be fresh and up to date so that visitors know what services and activities are offered. Any flyers or signs should contain positive messages and not things like no credit cards. A better way to say it would be cash only, please. We also communicate through body language. Now let's break the body down into parts, starting with above the waist. What would be some positive ways to manage our impressions? Well, nodding tells someone that you are listening, but not necessarily agreeing. Facing them squarely with your shoulders straight in front of theirs creates good energy. Leaning forward brings more energy when you are particularly interested in their comments or if there are competing distractions around. Now you need to remember to hang in there when things get hairy. And you know when someone you are talking to becomes very excited or very upset? Pulling your upper body away from them can cause embarrassment and make the situation worse. Professional communicators know that staying in the same position will calm the person down faster and both people will feel better about the situation afterwards. Same principle works for eye contact. Looking down or away from an upset or excited person sends an off message and it takes away from good communicating. Guess what the #1 question asked at every amusement park in the US is? Are you thinking? Here it is. Where's the restroom? Pretty obvious now that you know, right? Well-managed hospitality providers anticipate guests' needs and educate their employees on how to answer the most frequently asked questions. Now, in the amusement park, there are 3 different courteous ways that an employee should help with this question. 1, take the guest to the restroom. 2, take them halfway and invite them to go the rest of the way with an open palm and gesture in the direction of the restroom. Or 3, provide specific directions and then with an open palm gesture towards where that is. An open palm is a more professional way to communicate and never allows for miscommunication as when using a pointed finger or closed hand. You never want other guests to think that you might be pointing at them or talking about them. How about your face? Did you know that your face is a billboard? It's displaying your emotions. Hello, face? Emotions here. We feel happy, so put a smile on and brighten up your eyes. Top actors make millions for their ability to work with their emotions and their facial expressions. So remember one thing, always wear a smile. It's the one universal expression that means happiness throughout the world. Okay, so that covers communicating through speaking. Now how about communications through listening? How does that work? Keep in mind, there is a big difference between hearing and listening. Hearing is physical, when our ears receive sound. Listening is how we interpret what was received and how it makes us feel, think, and respond. 40 different groups of Philadelphia workers were asked, how do you know when someone is listening? And here were their answers. 1, they make good eye contact. 2, they nod their head. 3, they don't interrupt. 4, they ask the right questions. 5, they follow through on directions. And 6, they stay awake. That's always a good sign. Now, if you're a cab driver, you might be thinking it's impossible to drive and look at someone in the back seat. And you'd be right. But look, in any other situation when you're operating equipment and still in the presence of guests, safety does come first. So knowing that we can still carry on a conversation while safely completing our duties, guests will be watching for other cues that you are listening and understanding them. Now, back to the group that we surveyed. We also asked them how they know when someone is not listening. Here's what they said. When someone isn't listening, they don't make eye contact. They're texting. They'll ask you to repeat what you just said. They'll give you no reaction or a blank stare. They won't ask you any questions. They don't follow directions. They might even walk away. You can see from this list that at least 50% of these behaviors are nonverbal or body language. That's important to note. But think about this. Can you actually be listening while you do some of these things? I mean, if you're not making eye contact with the person, does that automatically mean that you're not listening? If you don't ask a question about what they said, does that mean you didn't listen to what they were talking about? Of course not. However, Our fellow Philadelphians said that as customers or listeners, they perceive you as not listening, and therefore that becomes their reality. So it's critical that you're aware of these actions to understand what guests may be thinking when interacting with you. Remember my challenge to pick 3 things you would try? Well, write those behaviors down and actually try them. Some of your choices may seem awkward at first for you, but pay attention to the reactions you receive. Practice makes perfect. Your employer's guide may contain specific product knowledge and content of what you say, but today's class is on how you say it, especially for enhancing your message with the right body language. Don't forget to take our short quiz and stay on the path toward certification or a chance to win prizes from Philly's best cultural institutions.
Congratulations! You are now one step closer to becoming a certified hospitality professional. This designation can be added to your resume, and the experience you'll gain will improve your customer service skills, build your confidence when interacting with the public, and increase your overall value as an employee.